with Galena, like with only one veto each in terms of champions, you're trying to just get like the best situation you possibly can, which is always not easy to do.
It's a hard choice to make when there's this much variety in the game now. Actually, it's like I was saying, like, you know, last year's QuakeCon to now, there's so much more maps, there's so much more content. You know, the champion list is nowhere near the same either, but so many of the new champions in the game from last year to now are really strong. So, you know, when you only have the option to ban one, it's, well, that's a hard decision to make because there are so many variables. You know, you take one thing out, you've opened up everything else.
I think it's interesting too with the picks, like the way you said how it can go back and forth. Let's just say they did ban Keel instead of Clutch, you know, from against Myztro. Now all of a sudden Myztro can pick Clutch, and it's like,
Garpy's like, hey guys, I can play Clutch.
Yeah, it's like, I can play
Dewey
Clutch
as well.
And then all of a sudden, Ranger's on the board. Ranger's in play now. Are they forced to ban a Ranger because he can counter the Clutch with Dire? It adds the little extra dynamic there in terms of taking players off the board.
Well, let's take a look at maps now, because we do have our maps on the board for this best of 5. We're starting off on Awoken, going over to Corrupted Keep. Blood Covenant is our 3rd. I'm hoping we get to the 4th map, because Blood Falls, Molten Falls is hands down one of my favorite maps now in the game completely. And then we're going to be ending up with Blood Run as our potentially last map. I think it's starting to talk about this close quarter combat. We have Keel playable now. We have Awoken there. We have Corrupted Keep. Very likely we're going to be seeing that champion on both of those maps.
Yes, I feel like on at least Awoken or Corrupted Keep, we're going to see what could potentially be a very different matchup to the one that we saw before. You know, I'm kind of thinking, you know, this is QuakeCon. There might be quite a few new viewers here that may have not seen Quake played at this level of competition before. You're about to see, I think, you know, suppose that they do go with different champions, you're about to see the difference that champions make.
Absolutely, and you're going to see what a difference high-level play makes. You're going to see these guys do things where you're like, should I really do that? You know, don't try this at home, kind of thing.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
All right, make sure you're good enough.
Trained professionals.
You're trained professionals here. Make sure you're good enough. I'm really curious to see Molten Falls. You know, we haven't seen much of that. I can't remember yesterday.
We had it on a couple of games off air, and I think we had it on air like 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, I don't remember much on air of it being there. So that's going to be interesting to see. I'm not sure here. Part of me wants to say 3-2. I think this might go to 5 maps. Especially, I think Chain and Waz are good enough to get a map off of these guys. And that's the big question. Can they force that 4th map into Molten Falls, which is their pick? And if they can get it there, you know, I'm not so sure how good Myztro, how comfortable they are with there. Obviously, Chain and Waz pick the map. They feel confident. So can they get it to that 4th map and maybe force a 5th? But I think I'm leaning on Myztro on this one, honestly.
I would be inclined to agree with you. I think it's actually, we could even see a 3-0. If they play, if Dewey and Garpy play the best they've played when they have played on LAN before. Because the thing is, you know, the big tournament where we saw Garpy and Dewey was DreamHack Denver, the end of last year. It was a breakout performance for Dewey. Garpy had already been able to show that on LAN he was very, very strong, but that was the tournament where we kind of saw both of those guys really come into their element and duel. Obviously, I know it's a different game mode, but with that said, they've brought it on LAN before. They've placed top of the food chain on LAN before. You know, that was a Myztro tournament, and I'm thinking, you know, just because that was less than a year ago doesn't mean that's the best they've ever played. If they play to that caliber now, they could even be Grand Finals material.
Absolutely. In fact, I personally believe all these Myztro squads have a chance of winning. I mean, every single one here. But they've definitely been putting in tremendous work, keeping on Dewey and Garpy.
It's such an odd coupling, too. It was something that was really not expected.
It is. It really did. I think it kind of shook people up. Like, really? Like, how are you going to make this work? You got one guy over there and one guy over, you know, in the US, and it's like...
Because Garpy doesn't care about the ping. Like, he still plays totally fine, because they've kind of, like, got a server middle ground. I can't remember what the server is, but there's a certain server they play on where they kind of get... Like, Garpy gets a little bit of ping, but it's not so extreme he, like, can't play. You know, he's got those pro gamer hours, so he's going to bed at, like, 5 a.m. That's no problem. That's fine. Just be awake on Dewey's schedule, you know, that pro gamer life.
Yeah, and he was playing with about 100 ping. I was watching those practice games. Actually, that's what made me think that, you know, they were a dark horse, somebody maybe a team that people weren't looking at too closely, but I was, and I'll tell you, they have a chance, because I thought Garpy and Dewey were playing really well, and that was with ping. You know, it's very difficult to play with 100 ping, especially the level of people they're playing against. They were practicing against Liquid, they were practicing against these other teams in North America, and they were holding their own and sometimes taking maps, even with Garpy having the 100 ping. So let's see how they do. I mean, they've been playing really well.
One thing that's always kind of, I'm always hesitant to talk about when it comes to scrims leading up to a tournament. I swear, whenever you ask a team, they always say, yeah, I mean, we were undefeated in scrims the entire way through. Like, yeah, we boot camped against Liquid, and then you ask Liquid, like, so how scrims go against them? Like, yeah, we beat them every match. It's like, someone's obviously lying, right? Like, scrim results are always like really questionable when you talk to the player and hear it from them. But one thing we've been hearing consistently from a lot of the teams here is that Myztro UKSA has been on really good form. Like, they've been on a really good tear coming to this tournament, and I wonder if this is their time to really peak.
Yeah, a lot of the players, especially on the Myztro lineup, they've had a really, really good schedule. They arrived into America really early, so they kind of, you know, they're on this time zone. They're not jet lagged anymore. They've been eating well. Like, every kind of little bit of outside the game preparation you can do, they have been doing. You know, I know like Silent Set, for example, has been very, very sick going into this tournament. He's been extremely unwell, and he's been trying to take it easy. Hasn't prevented them from moving on in the bracket. You know, they're still here to play, and they could by all means win the tournament. But with these things factored in, I think it's important that Myztro as an org has been really taking care of their players and making sure that they are as ready as they can be, which is why I think we've been talking about all three of the Myztro rosters. Any one of these teams can actually win the tournament, and it wouldn't surprise you because they've been looking so good going into this event.
We can speak to preparation. We talk about Liquid very often, you know, about the prep and how they train. Myztro's right there. I think they've developed a good team strategy on how to get their players ready, as you said. Keep them motivated, keep them hungry, make sure they're training, make sure they're practicing. I'm sure they're going over VODs and coming up with strategies and tactics and things like that for the game. So I think they're on the right track, and we've seen their teams perform very well in the past, and obviously they have 3 in the top 8 already today. So they're looking for a good showing. I
mean, speaking of the 3, right, we've heard a lot of good things about all of them, especially Myztro EU, which you're seeing on your screen with Raze and with Sparty. We've been seeing and hearing that they've been able to beat Liquid in scrims consistently. Obviously, we saw them lose 2-1 against Liquid yesterday, if you guys were checking out the stream. But they're also a team that, not necessarily a dark horse, but what's awkward about them to me is going into tours, they were seen as a favorite. Because Raze played literally everything online, whether it's duel or 2-on-2. Sparty, he obviously has like a full-time job as well and still tries to put time in it, can still play at this kind of level. Then they went to tours and they kind of underperformed, at least in our eyes. But coming into this, everyone is saying that they're easily one of the top 2, top 3 teams here. And Sparty as well, like having the last few weeks to boot camp, he hasn't had to worry about his job, you know, working 8 hours, then scrimming 4 to 8 hours again, then sleeping and doing all over again. He's been able to really focus and hone in on his skill for this game and for this tournament. I think they're also an extremely scary factor.
I would definitely agree with you. The one thing about, you know, if we were to ask the question of which of the 3 Myztro teams do we think has the best chance of winning, when you look at this team standalone, I think you would go with Myztro EU because of how they've looked both, you know, before the tournament and now. You know, obviously they lost to Liquid, but Liquid by all means might actually be a team that wins. So that was a hard opponent, you know, arguably the absolute hardest.
Yep.
But the reason I feel like Dewey and Garpy might have the best shot is purely because of who EU are going up against first in this bracket. You know, they have to go up against Blind Trust, and that's a team no one wants to fight, especially in a single all-in bracket where if you lose, you're out. You got to go up against Tox and Claws, who have been just absolute like mammoths online. They have been destroying everyone. And in tours, you know, in tours they were second place. So, well, no, one of them was second place. That was before they swapped it all around. You know, it was Ron, Tox, Claws, and Silent Set kind of playing together and alternating in scrims, kind of going with a new roster going into Quakecon, and obviously after the tour they went for a shuffle as well. Where right now the roster swap has worked for them. You know, they all still play together and they're all still really good friends in that. So the change wasn't in bad taste. They just felt like a lineup change was necessary, and right now it's done them well.
Yeah, we touched on it before about just throwing great players together. You see it in multiple titles too. You got great individual players, but for whatever reason you throw them on a Quake team, and Overwatch, doesn't matter what team, right? Any game. If the personalities
Thanks for looking at me when he said Overwatch. I appreciate that.
I gave you a dirty look too.
He stopped the word halfway.
I couldn't even say it.
You haven't even called me Jeff today. Like, do you even love me anymore?
Only at nighttime. But
oh.
But seriously though,
seriously there was way too much awkward silence right there.
the team play aspect of Quake, you have to have. It's a personality mesh and also the game style. Like you don't want to be stepping on each other's toes when you're playing. So I think they've recognized that, hey, let's try to find a team that, one, personality-wise, if you notice with Liquid, you kind of have Rafa kind of mainly calling the shots on the comms. You kind of look at it as team captain, even though they both contribute greatly to the comms. You can tell, like, one's the director, if you will, right? He's directing the orchestra. And I think it's important for each team to have that, so you don't get too much clutter on the comms. People talking over each other. You know, you have a method and a plan with how you're going to talk and not just play.
And speaking of blind trust, because you pointed out something that was a topic I love to mention, as you brought up, that you can't just take two of the world's best aimers, put them on a team and expect them to win. And when you think of the world's best aimers, how could you not think of Claws and Tox? And in terms of, you know, being the best aimer and kind of ignoring that fact, they're also very quiet individuals. I say that with a grain of salt for Tox, because if you ever interview Tox, he will talk for the entire day and take up your entire, you know, memory card in your camera. But when they play, they're very quiet. You know, they don't have, you know, the conductor. They don't have Rafa with his, you know, train hat on, or I guess the little sticks, guiding you along. It's just kind of like a joint effort to just like communicate very small things. And I hope later on we can do some listen-ins with them, because they're obviously going to be speaking English. But it's just such night and day between those two teams alone of how they communicate and make any sort of victory happen.
I think it's also a combination when you put the two styles side by side. I think the reason it works so uniquely with Blind Trust is because they are so ridiculous at aiming. Like, if they are pretty much, when you look at the two strongest aimers, I'm pretty sure right now in this day and age, you would put Claws and Tox at the top of that list. Like, they are the two greatest in the scene right now for Quake champions, in my opinion. So if they're basically in a situation where maybe they don't need constant comms, because if they see someone, that person's dead, right? They will pretty much hunt. They will pretty much look for the weak target, never miss a rail, have the most incredible LG you've ever seen. And to be honest, I am so excited for the matchup with them we're going to be seeing later on. That could very well be the best match in this side of the tournament.
It could be. And the thing is, like, that's saying something because of all the potential matches we have coming up today too. And one thing, you know, we also can't forget, to bring it back to the match we have coming up here with Myztro UKSA up against New Name, is that Waz, he's in Team Liquid still. And I think that's kind of like a fact people look over. It's like, oh, well, he's not under the Liquid name when playing, but he's still on the team. And when we get to the time of having CTF, he's still going to be on their CTF team. So that kind of shows the faith that Rafa and Dehang have in him as a player. And maybe, you know, going into this one with Chain, how well they can mesh together. Maybe Chain could be the fourth for CTF. But Machiavelli, before we get in, predictions, because the game's about to start. I'm
going to go with 3-1 Myztro on this one.
Okay, so you're backing out from your 3-2.
It could go there, but I think it's going to be 3-1.
Okay. All right, well, guys, we are about to top into this game. Remember, the map pool for this one's going to be Awoken, Corrupted Keep, Blood Covenant, Molten Falls, and Blood Run. And I'll catch up starting things off where we are seeing a Keel over for Myztro.
Yep, Dewey's Keel has been just on absolute form throughout this entire tournament. The level of support you can bring with this champion is insane, because it's aggressive support, it's damaging support. The second you get a rocket launcher and you combine it with those grenades, the damage output is ridiculous. But there we go, excellent shot there from Chain, getting the first blood, maybe setting the pace for the rest of the map.
And I think pace, and I think this first map is going to be a big test for both teams to feel each other out. We have a 2-for-1 happening there. Unfortunately, Waz is going to be the one to pay the price off of that. And that Garpy and Dewey together able to work in tandem really well. And I actually talked to Dewey because I think it was Machiavelli and I were casting their match yesterday against Big, and we were wondering why Dewey wasn't spamming grenades more often. And he did say to me, like, yeah, because they were on, obviously, like a bigger map. It's a lot harder to hit those, and you want to save them for, like, the tight areas of the map. Awoken is definitely 100% going to be one of those maps where you're going to see him spamming those pineapples all day.
Keel on Awoken is just an entirely different beast. You know,
yeah, you play him on Awoken a ton.
I only play Keel on this map because it's just, you know, there are so many weapons that you can get that kind of fit the grenades quite nicely. You know, Tri-Bolt being, you know, the newly buffed Tri-Bolt right there, which Garpy's using. That is wonderful when you combine it with grenades as well, because the damage output is near unmatched, with the exception obviously being BJ. But it's area denial. You know, if you can deny a corridor for even a split second, maybe that's the difference between you getting something and them, and Chain with a ridiculous midair.
Yeah, that's got to get him feeling good. That was a fantastic job by them, and also kind of denies Myztro UKSA from getting any semblance of control on this map. Actually, I did pick up heavy. Actually, rocket jumps back up, catches Garpy out on the drop. And with quad coming up in 12 seconds, Chain is just doing some serious work. But Waz going to suicide. I don't know if he got knocked off or if he did it intentionally. But either way, they do reset their health pools. Dewey's very low on HP, and he's going to now suicide come into this. But it just leaves Garpy by himself against 2, potentially.
Yeah, I think the only reason we saw the late suicide there from Dewey was because I think he knew Garpy was guaranteed quad. There's definitely no way he'd have suicided if it was, you know, if Garpy was further away, he'd have almost given it up for no reason. But that was a great choice. You know, Garpy understanding his situation, knowing that he's in a great position to take this guaranteed. And now with the super shotgun, His accuracy on the shotgun is fantastic, allowing Dewey to run in and kind of clean house. There's the rail, just in case they're a bit far away. They've done a wonderful job running away, but as they've been trying to run away, they've been going first into Dewey. And Dewey's been able to pretty much secure the kill. The quarter's been kind of just the thing that caused them to run away.
One thing that I think a lot of people don't understand when you're kind of like newer to Quake is how smart Dewey is as a player. Like when I was casting with him in tours, he was one of like, I guess the favorite people I've ever casted with, because he's just so smart. He knows exactly like what's happening in the game at all times. He's a very cerebral player, and I feel like that kind of adds to Garpy's repertoire, having that player you can rely on to be so smart. Not saying Hell wasn't back in tours when that was his original partnership, but Dewey's just kind of on a whole nother level when it comes to understanding the game and understanding these situations.
It was when we saw him play yesterday too, where they were basically on the back foot and Dewey just reached that next level. You don't see it all the time on LAN, but when it does, like these breakout players where they have a moment where you're on the back foot and you have to play big or you're out. Go big or go home. And Dewey, so far, has brought his A game. Unfortunately, the grenade right there bouncing off the wall. That sucks.
What if it was intentional to hit a guy behind him? Like that would have been
next level.
Yeah,
next level read.
Well, either way, we're about to get into protection. 20 seconds of time. Heavy and Mega going to be up before then. Dewey is trying to set up around this position as well as Garpy gets a great frag and also gets Mega off the back of that. This is looking really good for Myztro with this fantastic control that they do have, and I think even Garpy's going to be set up in the position to defend 1v2.
He's got so much stack, he's got lots of ammo too. Can he get a ring out? Not quite. Good rocket. Needs one more, but that totem's going to give him a little bit of extra sustainability. Dewey's going to be up behind, and now Keel with protection. And a whole bunch of grenades good to go. And again, for those that may be sort of like newer watching in, Keel collecting ammo boxes or those shards that you can sometimes collect gives him the grenades, and that pretty much is just another set. It's another set of ammo, really, isn't it? That's kind of what you look at.
Yeah,
it does. Ammo box.
It does insane damage, and it also does a ton of knockback, which is so important when you're trying to run away from someone's protection, or in his case, maybe just trying to lock down a kill here. So far, a pretty good streak, and as you were saying before, your prediction was like a very potential 3-0 for Myztro UKSA, and they've already been able to start off fantastic.
I feel like from what we've seen from Myztro before on LAN, if they can bring that level of play, which we know they can do, then this could be a 3-0. I'm definitely going to make that big claim. I'm not afraid to do so with what we've seen from the guys so far. Not to discredit Chain and Waz, they've been playing absolutely out of their minds, and by all means they could pull this one back. But I'm really feeling Myztro in this tournament.
Well, they do get a heavy. Ideally, they're going to be transitioning over towards Mega if they have the timing for it. Dewey just getting knocked into the air, missing a lot of those grenades coming through. Also, I mean, technically credit to Chain to be able to dodge away from that. Garpy's low on health. He's going to be knocked into the air, but he'll survive for now. Mega up in 1 second. It looks like whaz&cha1n just not positioned since Chain did fall before. Not to mention just look how beefy Keel is. He has the Mega, and that rail did practically nothing to him.
Exactly. The second you've got plenty of armor left to go, you can kind of soak up as much damage as you want. Dewey going in, lands one of those pineapples. Big damage for those that don't know, 75 for a successful grenade. I think if you combine that with like a shotgun up close, it kind of goes back to if you're a wonderful champion fresh off spawn, Keel is one of those picks.
Yeah, 100%, especially when you don't have a weapon. It's like, hey, I have grenades that are my weapon pretty much.
I have a shotgun and a grenade. That's all I need. You're going to die
pretty much, yeah. And we're seeing actually kind of like an old meta on this map on Awoken so far played by Myztro UKSA as they're kind of holding this heavy, this rail position because you do have rail there and a lot of avenues are long distances you have to cover. And they're going to be able to actually pick up the quad here. Dewey suicides. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but either way, Garpy has quad, he has Mega, and he has an LG, and that's all he's going to need. Even on top of this, he's about to have a third totem down for free Mega health.
Now Garpy has to watch out the second he got caught by that mid-air rail. Dewey just kind of running in and finishing the job, gets 2 LG kills, very cleanly executed, and they have such a chunky lead. I really like their level of, I think consistency is the word we can see right now.
Yeah, they're looking strong. I mean, they're up by 9. You can kind of see Dewey, but you can see Garpy there. He's actually sporting their brand new jersey, by the way.
I swear they have a new jersey every tournament.
For finals day. This is their finals day jersey, the white and red. I like it. Looks nice. Apex, please give me one. But in the meantime, Dewey, he's looking to take control of that area back yet again that they've actually lost, and yet those totems, I believe I saw, were still up. I think they have probably been finished off here for now, but Chain not looking very healthy here on his HP. I swear, Mega's gone the way of Myztro UKSA, I'd say, I can't count how many right now. Let's just say 6 out of 7 times.
Bold claim to make. Oh, Garpy almost got ring out with his mouth. Waz gets the last bit of splash he needs. But it feels like every single time, whenever there's a fight, Dewey is always the one that's cleaning up. You know, he's always kind of like the last one there, but I feel that's actually a tactical decision. I think he's content with Garpy maintaining a 2v1, and they almost understand that he's going to drop. The question is, how much damage can he do to the rest, so that when Dewey runs in and he's got loads of LG,
look how long it's taking to kill him.
Exactly. It takes so long to kill Garpy. Look at their stack. They're not equipped to deal with a fight with Dewey now.
Looking for them, Dewey's kind of on a different portion of the map. Looking for those pineapples again. LG comes out. He's on 17 HP. He's got to be careful. He's got to respect this one. Heavy's going to be up in about 7 seconds of time, and Dewey doesn't have the HP to even contest it. Maybe looking at potential suicide for him.
I think he'll do what he can. Give him a kill if need be. Best case scenario was he actually got that kill, or at least got some damage.
Triple totems again, so important.
Okay,
so they are around the corner still, so they have not been cleared out. That's such an oversight by whaz&cha1n here. They need to clean that up because he's just getting so much free HP if they can get there.
All right, Chain, good calculation there, saving the dual wield just for the right moment, being forced away from the Mega though, so Myztro at least going to get a bit of extra stack. And it's protection, you know, so I think having a high stack versus someone with protection definitely going to favor you more than if they have quad.
Oh, Garpy, again, that's the third time he's been able to pick up, sorry, not Garpy this time. But he's actually able to run away and still maintain the 3 totems down. Like, you can never understate how important that is. And I'm really curious to see, you know, if the side of whaz&cha1n, how many they have available or how many they have down, because the HP you get from this, 1 to 3, is insane. It gives you the free stack. It allows you to actually not put much effort on Mega anymore and then make the team underestimate how much HP you have coming into a fight.
Dewey getting some excellent grenades and rockets combined. You know, the second that protection disappears, it's not so easy. Garpy using the temporary, almost like that strat of using the totem as like a shield. It's so effective because the second it becomes active, you get healed and block damage. Like, it really is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, and talking to Apex, the manager of Myztro, he was talking to us in the scrims when he's watching. The amount of times Garpy saves Dewey's life by throwing in a totem to like block a rail shot against him or to block like a rocket is ridiculous. I think Garpy's really showing his mastery here of Galena.
Absolutely, because doing that is actually not that easy, because you still need to gauge the angle they're going to shoot at you from. You know, if you put a totem in like an inch wrong, you know, to one side, then it may as well serve no purpose. It is only experience that lets you make those plays.
Are you using the metric system here because we're in America?
I don't know. I just said a
so
measurement.
Proud of you.
I just said a measurement and it just so happened to be the right one.
True. Mega to be going to Dewey. It's a quick little frag there as well. I mean, Chain and Waz, we've been talking a lot about Myztro UKSA. They're not playing bad at all. They've been denied a lot of the power-ups and again have been missed out on a lot of these totems. But I feel like when it comes to these 2-on-2s, Myztro have been just kind of clumped together more often than not.
Oh, I'm wondering if you can have the extra couple of seconds he needs to get over. This should be a 1v1. The quad goes down, Chain drops, and now for another time, the power-up goes in the favor of Myztro, who have just had absolute control. Goes for a mid-air rocket, doesn't matter. Dewey's able to collect and finish things off with that rail. Wonderful shot. Dewey drops, but not before he goes in with a jump pad. Normally a death sentence, but not when you've got quad damage, and Garpy's aiming.
The totem comes in. You got to respect those as well because they get 4 times the damage if you haven't played Galena yet with quad, or maybe haven't had the luxury of feeling how powerful those can be when the enemy has quad. And he's been able to do some real work with it. 41-27. They've really ran away with the game off this last quad.
Absolutely, and they only have a little bit of work left to go. We're kind of back into that situation where I think Myztro, they need to royally screw up to lose this map now. They have such a chunky lead, and the rate at which they've been able to pick up the frags has been rapid. You know, this has been faster than a regular map, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean,
we've had some long ones today.
And I'm still trying to like look at how they're attacking me. Again, you see someone overextended, taking damage, then he has to back away. The second person who's trying to come in, whether it was Chain or Waz, just comes in a little bit too late, or the timing of their attacks are a little bit too off to make them successful. And Myztro's like, all right, well, if you're gonna come at us, you know, 1v2, we're just gonna kill that person, then turn to the second because we know he's late.
But again, even right there, Garpy drops, but he understands that, hey, I just need to trade here. You know, we only need 7 frags, and they've got 20 left to go. Well, if I get one of these trades and I die, we still win. That is always gonna be in their favor. Waz on the cooldown of the rail, going in for the totem at the wrong time, leaving himself completely vulnerable. Garpy, wonderful catch right there, knowing he's going to run underneath. This should be a 2-for-0. No, Chain does manage to get 1, but I feel like it's not enough at this point. Hits 1 rail, needs 1 more. It's charged now, so 100 damage, misses the flick. That would have been death.
Well, you see the respect as well out of Dewey there to the shotgun. Again, he's playing a heavy champion. He's playing a model that's massive, and the shotgun can just rip through since his pellets are easier to hit. So he sits back pretty far. Protection's about to be up in 3 seconds of time. Dewey is looking very worse for wear. But Garpy's gonna be there another time. How does this man keep picking up items, and how does he actually penetrate the two-man defense to steal this away?
I feel like it's because they put so much effort right there into trying to kill Dewey. Garpy pretty much just walked in and took it. Like, thanks guys, cheers for that. Did the hard work for him. You know, they kind of just left that position to take out Dewey, and you almost wonder, you know, one kill versus them getting power up and probably losing the game. It's never going to be worth it, and that's going to be game over. There it is, fist bump, 100%. They're pumped, man. They
look how serious they look too. Like, look at Dewey's face. He didn't look happy at all with that victory. He just looked focused. They realized, like, hey, we're top 8. We're trying to push through to the semifinals to be top 4. Obviously, the money does change quite a bit from that, from 8,750, if I can speak correctly, up to 15,000. Like, that's a big chunk of change added to your pocket that we can hopefully get them to buy us drinks for later on. But still, that's a good start.
I think right now they're sort of playing in the form that we were hoping to see. You know, there's so many ways this could go. Myztro, you know, I'm not going to say they're not the most consistent team. It's just because their rosters have kind of fluctuated so heavily, from Sacrifice to early 2v2 to, you know, current 2v2. I feel like at this moment in time, not to jinx it, I know Commentator's Curse is alive and kicking, but the rosters they currently have feel like the strongest they've ever been. And I think if there's one time to bring that roster, it's going to be Quakecon. And that first map has made me really feel like we could see Myztro move on in this bracket. But not to underestimate, you know, whaz&cha1n. They got here for a reason. The question is, can they reach that next level? You know, can they work around Dewey? You know, every time Garpy starts a fight, you know in the back of their mind, they're thinking, okay, but where's Dewey? You know, where does he inevitably appear? Because he's always there, and he's always last. And because of that, it's always going to be a 2-for-1 trade in Myztro's favor.
I mean, now we're going on to Corrupted Keep. So again, a small map. We did see Liquid just absolutely walk over play to improve on that map. However, when it came to Awoken, obviously it was a lot closer. Going into this map here now between these two teams with Corrupted Keep second, it was surprising to see Myztro UKSA have such a strong lead at the end of that first map. And to me, that kind of shows like the level of play that they're bringing to this one. And cha1n and whaz, I want to see them really step up here on this map, as we're going to see pretty much the same lineup set of both teams.
Dewey is absolutely fantastic. Sorry to cut you off, obviously, but as we go into this next map, one thing I want to point out is he's gone in for Keel again. Dewey is fantastic at champions. Their ability is basically just an extended attack. You know, the clutch shield, the ranger orb, the Keel grenade. He is so wonderful with champions that have an extra piece of attack in the form of an ability.
He doesn't like to be a team player with Galena. That's what I do when I play twos. Carry Zoot with my healing.
You just put totems down and allow Zoot to play, and then you just go in the corner somewhere and say, you do the good thing, Zoot.
I mean, I won 2. I was doing something, technically, sometimes. Let me have this one.
It takes 2 to tango, my dude.
Exactly, thank you. I'm actually surprised to not see cha1n and whaz switch up to Keel themselves, because they've been sticking to the BJ, and obviously when you're kind of comfortable with something, you want to stick to it. I wonder how much they've actually practiced Keel, if that's kind of in their repertoire, or maybe they're banking on Ranger to be one of like their niche picks coming to, you know, the end parts of Quakecon. But at the moment, Dewey's Keel, I mean, the zone denial it gives you, it's almost like Clutch-esque where you put the shield up, but instead you have these grenades that you block off, because if they don't hit you, they still explode and do damage to you after a period of time.
Exactly, and it's like you said earlier too, the knockback makes a really big difference, especially on something like Corrupted Keep, where you kind of need to keep the aggression and kind of lay that pressure on thick, because there is no rail on this map. If you're going to chase someone down, you have to kind of stick to them, and if he's hitting you with a grenade and you stop that airborne momentum, you have to circle jump, you have to build up the speed again, and it's hard to do in the spur of the moment when there's someone else chasing you too. This is not 1v1.
Well, not to mention that you have to change your aim with the grenades too, because you can't just aim straight and expect to hit them. You have to, you know, obviously tweak where you're aiming, which means you can't hit with other weapons at the time, or at least for the maximum amount of damage. Quads are about to come up here in 10 seconds. There's Megan Heavy a few seconds thereafter, so this is going to be actually a major milestone for these teams if they can secure it. Dewey is just going off here, look at that.
They're in such a wonderful position to take this quad, and with Dewey's accuracy so far, the fact that he now has quad damage and a wonderfully placed totem, if I might add, he's going to be incredibly dangerous. Look at the amount of grenades he's got. That is a million kills right there.
I think that's a little bit of an overstatement.
There kills? It is. Look, that's no, actually 0 million kills right there, because he just died and lost everything.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of Keel sometimes. Yeah, you have a lot.
But he used it to get it back. That was insane. You've got the quad damage, mate. I don't care. Here's 2 grenades and a shotgun. I'm going to have that quad now.
That's all I need. And actually, he might's going to fall too. Actually, suicides on his teammate.
No.
He hits him with the nail gun. But Chain should have it. Garpy has 3 totems down. Dewey's off by himself doing God's work here as he takes down Chain. He has the quad. Actually, the quad has faded away, so luckily it's in no one's hands anymore. But just a ridiculous back and forth here between these 2 teams.
Dewey, unfortunately, misses a couple of those grenades. It's kind of like a, you know, if you land those grenades and the shotgun blasts, it can basically kill anyone, but if you miss every single shot, it's hard to sometimes hit the shotgun blast when you're kind of alternating your aim to hit the grenades.
Yeah.
The 2 weapons don't really complement each other accuracy-wise. Wonderful totem kill there from Waz. Dewey forced to jump down, and he just jumps into the jaws of death right there. Guaranteed damage all day, every day. Watch out, Garpy from up top. Watch your head.
The thing is, like, especially on this map with the power-up right here in this open courtyard, the grenades just offer you so much as a kill because you can spam them down with rockets and you can't sit on power-up anymore. It's just not going to be possible with the amount of spam and damage that can be done to you. And not to mention shooting up, you can help deny area yet again. But either way, 15-11, not as big as a lead as we saw in the last map on Awoken, but it is a lead nonetheless. As we move in towards protection coming in a few seconds, Waz is going to completely be locked down in that corner and eventually finished.
I really like the confidence that Dewey is showing and how he pushes. Oh, what a shot! And the back walk to make sure that the rocket misses. That was so well executed there from Dewey. His combat skill is some of the best in North America for sure.
He's got no armor though, so it's gonna be a little bit rough to take a lot of this upfront damage that's coming his way, especially when 1 rocket can end his life here. 4 seconds to go on protection. He's got to respect this, and you can tell he kind of wants it, but Garpy giving him protection from above helps him out. I think that was some slight miscommunication. I think Garpy did want to take that, but obviously if you're Dewey here, you wanted to make sure to deny it from the enemy team first and then get to the right person if you can.
I can always pick,
hello.
Oh my god, right place, right time, but he takes a huge amount of damage. And actually, is that going to be recovered? Garpy manages to collect it. Okay, so they're still in the driver's seat. Very weak though, but it's enough time for Dewey, and surely Garpy's going to suicide here, surely. Oh no, oh they just let it run out. That's a good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Only a couple seconds left anyways. He gets back to full HP off of his totem in the health bubbles, so really didn't lose much in the end on that one.
I wonder if they would have taken that risk if they'd like immediately picked up, or whether they'd only done it because obviously the protection was just about to run out. Chain gets in, Waz with the second. Only slightly behind, to be honest. Not too bad. Oh no. Watch out there, there's a totem.
What if they made it so like Galena can't proc other Galena's totems, like Death Knight can't be on fire?
I would not be a fan of the change.
Yeah, me either.
It would be just like, what, it just ignores her.
Yeah. Or you can turn it for your favor. Ooh, that'd be weird. Anyways, let's just move on from that because that's why I'm not a game designer. Garpy, he's going to be rushed down by 2 players and actually going to be forced to give up heavy here, but it's going to be all on this quad. And the lead that Myztro UKSA do have right now, albeit 6, is a lead. And they've been slowly growing this over the 5.5 minutes that we've now had allotted.
And we can see actually in the spectator, the second we see that totem near LG, you know, the second you can put those totems down and you can kind of, the area denial they provide. If you want to use a totem and you jump in, sorry, a teleporter, sorry, you jump into a totem, it's damage that in many ways you can't risk taking. Dewey runs into the health bubbles, and the health bubbles allow him to survive with 4 health remaining. 1 extra take of LG would have definitely sent him out there. Wonderful rocket, that was a 6 shot.
He's going to continue to keep this pace up, though. He still has 4 health. How is this man surviving? He needs to have, you know, been finished off at this rate. Looking for Mega, but he's not going to have a chance. He's not trying to rush in to do as much damage as possible before the respawn back in. 1 second on quad. Garpy from above is not going to be able to do too much with the rockets, but he's going for the bounce. Eventually, he will die, and Dewey will fall as well as Chain gets a double. Now, here we go. This is the chance for whaz&cha1n to get some numbers on the board. And
Chain very carefully made sure he didn't use his dual wield. You know, he was saving it for when he needed it. Right now with quad, he's not going to need it unless it's, you know, like panic button.
Ooh.
Tri-bolt, I'm surprised he survived that. Tri-bolt quad damage, that is an attack that is rarely survived by anyone. And the second Chain now, if he loses quad, he's still going to have the dual wield. I actually wonder if they're going to try and push him once his quad runs out because they think he's weak, and then he just pops dual wield and gets a kill anyway.
Yeah, I would say there's like him being smart about his ability because you already have 4 times the damage. Dual wield, it's like overkill. It's unnecessary at that rate, you know? And you're just, you know, being forward thinking. Think back to the next step of if they do rush me, well, I'll have dual wield ready to go. And they might, you know, again, underestimate what I can really do in this fight. But Garpy comes in, cleans that one up for a 2-for-1. Still maintain a 5 frag lead, though, off the back. Okay.
Oh,
all right.
God damn. Another one. Here we go. Yep. Chain tries to get away, pops the dual wield just in case. Kind of weird actually to see him pop the dual wield fresh on spawn after saving it for so long, but he thought it was the right call to make. Unfortunately, walking into a keel with plenty of damage left to go. Watch out. Here comes Garpy up behind.
Yeah, he was going to fall eventually, but again, just trying to maximize the amount of potential damage you can do. Heavy up in 1 second at a time. whaz on 19 HP. He will be finished off by Dewey from a grenade from downtown, and Dewey gets a second. I'm not sure if he got the heavy armor. It looks like he did get off the back of that. whaz going to steal away Meg in the nick of time, but they've been not able to really maintain any control of this teleporter. I don't think I've yet to see whaz been able to get 3 totems down for any overhealing.
Absolutely sniped by the Tribal right there. And as you were mentioning it, right, they kind of see him using the teleporter. They kind of knew he was going to take an extra few seconds to put the totem down, which leaves him in place. Garpy, being a Galena player, knows how long he's going to be vulnerable for, which guaranteed the Tribal. Wonderful pop-up. whaz gets a good rocket. Can he get the double?
Being very careful. Doesn't want to go through the teleporter and lose the stack he's been able to accumulate from here, especially with protection up in 2 seconds of time. Dewey's going to drop down. It's so hard to push into this one, but whaz is going to get protection, but he's not healthy. He's lost out on his teammate. He's being chased from behind. He's trying to get back towards Mega Room to help out, but Totem's going to give him a lot of extra HP to work with, and most likely he will not be killable for now, but he still has to play this one slow.
Yeah, the second Myztro saw that he had, kind of the real estate he needed to get away, I don't think they wanted to chase it down because they knew he'd have a totem. They knew he'd be able to pop it and he'd kind of be strong enough to 2v1 them. And now they're going to play the runaway game. They did actually manage to pick up another frag while running away, which is kind of like the best case scenario for them. If you're going to play the runaway game and outlast the power-up, getting a kill along the way, it shouldn't really happen, but when it does, they're not going to complain.
Well, there wasn't even really any net gain off of the protection, I'd say. I mean, with that 1-4 that did happen, I think it turned into like a +1 in the end net for whaz&cha1n, and with them being down 12, yeah, exactly. With them being down 12, +1 doesn't mean squat.
Dewey does drop because he was incredibly weak. Garpy with an impressive stack. Not much armor, but actually no, he has armor now, as we will buy heavy. Just hear BJ in pain in the distance.
It's a good sound.
I don't know why you can just hear him so well. whaz, excellently placed. Very weak himself, pushing in, but don't want to push too hard, not when he's near those health bubbles.
I like how he's using his totems, though, quite often. I feel like every time they're off a cooldown to heal with, not to put another one down, he's always going to be there.
But it's keeping him alive. Like, whenever he survives these fights, he's surviving with, like, barely any health. Wouldn't have had that situation if he wasn't cycling his totems the way he was. Obviously, they've now both gone down. Dewey with plenty of grenades. I like how he's been saving it. Can he challenge the dual wield? I think he actually might be able to, and that's the thing. BJ's dual wield has not been able to be anywhere near as fruitful as it has been in previous series. And I think that's because the second Keel starts spamming grenades at you point blank, you're almost going to compete against each other with damage.
I think it's also important to notice that it just feels like in general, Myztro is doing so much more damage. Even if they do lose a fight, they still have the person that was attacking them, below 50 HP, so they can turn it into a kill themselves. Quad's about to spawn back in. Garpy does get on top of Chain, and they do get the frag. He has no HP to work with, though, down to 24. Can heal back up to 49 and 74, but he doesn't have any totem up just yet.
But now Garpy is stacked and then some. They have to watch out. They really don't want to pick this fight. Looks left when he could have looked right for a free kill. whaz tries to go in for the kill and catches him off guard. But again, Dewey just watching his back. The second Garpy maybe overextends or looks the wrong way, Dewey is there to correct the mistake.
And even though he didn't accomplish much off of the quad, he prevented it from the other team taking it. Again, I think I mentioned that almost every single time, is that he stops them from getting an easy way back into the game. So they have to work even harder now because quad won't be up for another 4 minutes of time practically, that they have to win a lot of these 2-for-0 exchanges, which is already so difficult to do when Dewey and Garpy are playing so well together.
Now the thing is, when you weigh the two champions up that we can see right now, we have 2 Galenas, yes, then we have 1 Keo and 1 BJ. It's kind of like, massive amounts of damage in short bursts of time versus consistent damage that Keel brings to the table. When I actually look at these 2 champions in this situation, I almost favor having Keel as the other champion, because when Dewey is there and his accuracy is as good as it is, and his choice of when to pull the trigger on just letting loose on every grenade, particularly when a power-up spawns, I feel like it's just a higher level of damage that BJ gets, with the exception of when he has dual wield, which just is so rare, right?
Yeah, it's not like you can just count on hitting the button and getting free damage.
Look at the base. So many totems, man. And he actually got a totem kill. I wonder why. It's almost like there was 3 totems in one place. How do you survive that coming out of a teleporter?
Either protection, or you do Nyx, or use Bull Rush through it, I believe. Some good old times of how to deal with that with Bull Rush, but I don't think we're going to be seeing any scale bearers other than statue form, which is amazing, by the way.
Oh, I agree. Oh, that was sick! That was such a good shot. I never get tired of seeing wonderful air rockets.
Problem is now, they're already set up for protection, but this is potentially 2 deaths that they could take if they're not successful. Chain has fallen. They're not even going to get the protection here. Dewey steals it away, and now it just puts them even closer to finishing off the second map. 3 left to go here for Myztro UKSA to take it to a match point yet again.
And 3 kills left to go. Keel with plenty of grenades, a super shotgun, lots of stack, protection. I mean, do you want a better scenario, really?
I don't think there is a better scenario in the game for him. I mean, look how kind of slow they're playing here, too. Look at that, going to push him off the map. I mean, technically, that's a win for Chain and whaz since they don't feed over a kill, but again, keeping them that much further away from having a chance to get back in.
It's also the fact that the timer is not on their side either. We
Hello.
are just over.
He
2
got
minutes, and he did indeed. I mean, that's it. 1 pineapple, 1 rocket. If you got a direct rocket, that's 100. A grenade is 75. And there we have it. Another map is going to go to Myztro. UK, North America. This is going to be a crazy result if they can pull off a 3-0 here, but I feel like they're just in form to do it.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, the third map we're going to is Blood Covenant, so it's not going to be as fast-paced and as aggressive. But with the way they're playing, it doesn't seem like there's much Chaz and Wayne can do. Yeah, that's actually so confusing to keep doing that back and forth. But yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to have a slower-paced map, which might help out for them. But then again, we could always obviously see a change up in picks out of Myztro UKSA. I mean, the Keel, we did see Dewey playing it yesterday against Big with Kilson and Avik. I would assume most likely he's going to stay that route and not switch things up at all. But why switch something if it's working?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And on Blood Covenant, you might kind of see potentially some more variables. This is actually one of the maps you would more likely see a Ranger. Had Ranger not been banned out, obviously, which is why I feel like this could even have been an entirely different story if one of those champions come through. And we actually talked earlier about how happy we are to see the bans now in place. I think, the bans are in place now because the game has so many champions, a lot more than before. So the roster is now chunky enough that these bans can actually start to make sense without like majorly limiting teams and players.
Yeah. And I think it's for me, I'm looking forward to when Death Knight's available to be played competitive. Because, like, he opens up the avenue for so many more things. He's very bursty. He's a medium champion. Him and Sorlak together is so satisfying to have the acid and the fire. Like, so much damage over time and so much zone control you can do with it. I'm actually really excited to see, where we're at a year from now, champion-wise. Maybe having, like, 30, 35 kind of thing would be pretty insane. I think that's obviously, that's too many. Probably for a year's time.
You're just wishful thinking, mate. Wishful thinking.
Well, the thing is, I've always
One can dream.
I come from MOBAs, so I come from like League of Legends, where you have like hard counters to them, and I would love to see almost hard counters introduced because one thing that kind of frustrates me when I watch people play is they don't switch champions that often too. I think there's that whole mental aspect of, well, I'm going to lose out on my ability, or I think it's not the right time or something like that. But I actually really love the idea of being able to switch around champions mid-game, depending on what the enemy's team's doing and depending on like what situation you're in.
Well, either way, we could potentially be on our final map right here. And they've actually gone with the exact same comp. The difference is, I think, we can see whaz&cha1n. They really want to kind of keep the damage on the board. They have opted to go with Visor instead of Galena. Normally, it actually would be the other way around. It's almost like Galena would be seen as the one that's like super important because of the heals and the area denial. But now, they know they have Keel on the other side. So they need to go toe-to-toe with that damage. Otherwise, when the power-up spawns, when the fights take place, they're just going to be essentially, outgunned every single time.
It's going to be hard to come through those doorways, especially with the grenades being thrown. I mean, the grenades and the totems together, it's like, is there ever a clean avenue into the power-up? And, well, they're going to find out the answer momentarily here. But the Visor does give them the vision. It does obviously give them the advantage to hit these rails and make the railgun, which obviously wasn't on the last map a viable weapon to go for.
Garpy's rail, though. We've seen Garpy's rail before in Duel, and it is the stuff of legend. One of those absolutely treats to see. Speaking of which, Dewey with a straight-up 100 damage rocket. Wonderful read as well. whaz playing into Dewey's hands. That was just perfect execution from Dewey, and he gets it again.
He's got the only kills on the board for both teams in his hands with the 2.
That was just so good. Everything about that was good.
Yeah. Again, you're showing like the practice. Like there's a lot of, I think Drobovic, he's a European player, really high level player, funny enough. And he was playing Keel before most people were, and his grenades are just so spot on. Then you have like Festive Turtle as well, over with Saigame. Unfortunately, they got eliminated yesterday, and her Keel's insane, and the amount of damage you can do if you're really accurate with those grenades.
Garpy kind of trying to one-up Dewey in effect right there and going for a just as sick 2v1. But here comes the power-up.
They have overhealing too. Look at this. That's the 3rd totem going down. This is super important because like the thing is with quad coming up and that overstack, like Dewey could have been healed up so much, but now Garpy by himself trying to come in last second, 1 second on the quad, jumps through the teleporter, does hit whaz, but doesn't finish him off, and whaz has a stack to make something happen.
And very important they were able to secure that quad, actually. It was such an amazing start for Myztro. I think if they were able to get quad, it would have been a pain train that no one wants to get on the stop for. Like, it would have been a horrific situation. It's good they've been able to recover. whaz has kind of just been a very sort of solid player so far. Has a while before piercing sight, so he's definitely not going to be able to use that to finish a quad kill. Gets one rocket, Garpy. Zigged when he should have zagged right there. Sorry, mate. Oh, what a shot. That was clean.
Claws? Was that you? Was that kind of flick that I just saw?
You're not allowed to play on each other's accounts.
Yeah, I think that's not. I think that's against TOS and probably tournament rules, I would assume. But Waz, you saw there the last second with Quad, he does land it and actually gets a perfect rocket jump up to Garpy. Wow. So they net themselves a 2-frag lead.
This has actually been a very, very solid turnaround. Every kill they've landed so far has been immaculate. Hard to maintain this level of play, but I feel like they might be able to do it. Waz gets another amazing rail. Has to watch out for the totem. And the time it took for him to kind of just divert his attention and try and take out that totem was a little bit of extra time. They were getting guaranteed damage on him.
Why are you making it even more?
Okay. Yeah, the priority wasn't there, it seemed. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Either he could have kept focusing, maybe hit an extra rail or two in there, or he's trying to keep Garpy away from the 3-stack on totems. Just kind of depends on what the situation was like and what was going through his brain.
Oh, tries to get the surprise, tries to get the shotgun and grenade. I actually think he might have missed one of the shots, and it kind of goes back to what I said, like, which, not a problem there as he gets deleted.
Tons of damage.
It's so good. It's really fun to play, and it's even more fun to watch.
Here we go, protection up in 15 seconds. Mega's gonna be there. Heavy not for a long time though. Chain does have dual wield available. No vision anymore. Those pineapples should be up in just a few seconds, at least fully stacked. And there you go, see Dewey, another one, and Garpy with the cleanup.
That was actually really unfortunate because right as Chain popped his dual wield and run through the teleporter, he didn't take that split second to look to the right, where I believe it was Dewey that was right up behind him. And he got a bunch of guaranteed damage. That obviously would have been coordination as well.
Oh no, he doesn't have weapons though, because I think he did die right before they went in for this. And they lost out in Heavy. They split Garpy off to go to Mega to pick that up, and then he went to Heavy to secure both major items. But unfortunately, without a machine gun start, without a machine gun period, he wasn't able to finish him off before he picked it up.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but I feel like Dewey's equipped now to at least get 2 kills. That's going to be the second one right there. So it's going to be a little bit of a win. 2 kills in the lead now. A wonderful start where Myztro, they've been able to escape with a lead before. And look at that totem placement up top. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's up by power up. That's sick. I like it. Cheeky boys.
Was the books, if I'm not mistaken. I like Dewey's mindset too. He's like, oh, I don't have the weapons, so let me just kill you to get weapons instead of actually going around the map to pick them up.
I've got a great idea. I'm going to take your weapon.
That's a really interesting spot up there. I wonder if you actually rocket jump to get it up there or actually just threw it. And it's almost never going to be seen there either. So you can easily stack 2 or 3 totems there, or 2 ideally.
I kind of feel, it feels to me like whaz&cha1n are going to have to really go out of their way to get that totem now. Like, they're going to have to either like diverge an attack during a power-up bit or something and aim up, or they're going to have to go up there themselves.
I know you can be healed through walls with it, but I don't know if you can be healed if you're under it or above it.
It's just in the radius, I believe. It should just be, you know, if you're in the radius for it.
That's interesting, because that's like so much free healing.
I never factored in height before.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm curious. Like, if you actually can heal off that from down there, then you're going to have an extra 50 HP that the enemy team's not going to be expecting in the fight.
We haven't actually seen a frag. We just saw a frag. Never mind. Forget I said anything.
It's like, where are you going with this?
We hadn't seen a frag in about a minute. Yeah. And right as I said that, Garpy got a kill. So, yeah.
It's commentator's curse, man. It's real.
I told you before the map. It exists.
I haven't won the lottery today. Maybe.
I've never been struck by lightning before.
That's a little difficult to do. We're inside of a building all day as well. Waz trying to push in. Quad's about to spawn in. Chain's going to be ahead of him and he's trying to spam with the nail gun. But he actually gets one, but one's not going to be enough here as Garpy with 13 HP does get the finisher on him.
And that's an excellent rocket as well. Very nearly could have been one of those psychic rockets. Yeah, doesn't want to mess around. Chain was, I mean, that was a rock and a hard place. I don't really know what he could have done to survive that. Apart from maybe just sit there and wait it out and hope that Garpy just gets bored and goes somewhere else. All right, not going to go through the teleport. Doesn't want to overextend, at least when he's nice and stacked. Waz drops to it, knowing he was going to take a rail, and he did. But I think, again, it kind of goes up to calculation. He knows that if he took a rail there, he would have survived. If he survives, he kills you during the cooldown, hit or miss.
I swear, Garpy's been allowed to have 3 totems down across these maps way too long. Finally, one will fall. That placement there, again, being so impactful. I still want to see him throw a second there as well, just to kind of be even more of a nuisance for the permanent overstack. But he's trying to use 2 for healing, keep that one hidden away. I think you talked about that quite a bit yesterday when you were casting in day 1. Either way, Chain. Wow, trying to push together. That's going to be dual wield popped, and dual wield so far netting them a kill. And technically doesn't, even though Dewey does suicide there.
Yeah, but we go straight back to what it was before. Oh my god. Chain only survived with 4 HP, but surrounded by health bubbles, so healthy again. Catches a nice little bit of airborne LG. The 2v1 means Dewey's going to fall down there. We have a little bit of time until we see the power up, so I do actually wonder what the play is going to be before. They did just get the heavy. I'm wondering if Chain's going to try and go towards Mega. I believe kind of his like movement language suggests he might have timing on it, especially seeing as everyone's here. You know, why else would they be here?
Yeah. And we saw, like, I think a little bit of slight miscommunication with Myztro, because Dewey is by himself towards heavy, and Garpy wasn't in a position to be seen. Maybe Dewey was just trying to go for a contest, got to do some easy damage in, and then retreat away. Again, Garpy back on 3 totems. Look at his overstack on health. Look at Dewey's overstack on health. The rails are hitting. It's just looking so good for Myztro.
That was really good for Garpy too, just to keep them behind. His totem's going to drop down, leaving it open a little bit for whaz, but this is now actually going to be a 2v1, and that's why whaz decided to move away. They actually conceded the power-up, knowing that Chain was nowhere near. They did not want whaz to just die for free. If they're going to get power-up, at least make sure they don't get a kill.
I actually don't know why he dropped there, because he was already at 175 HP anyways, and he got 3 extra total health off of that. Might have been able to save it for later. They're pushing in towards rail. That was a fantastic rocket.
He is so dead right there. Misses the rail. Actually surprising to see him miss that one. One of those instances where they just move right as you pull the trigger. Don't see any damage from the grenade because it collided with the wall.
To be fair, in FPSs, it's harder to hit someone not looking at you than it is someone looking at you, because you can't predict the way they're going to react to your presence and the way they're going to move around you when they're looking away.
I mean, with the amount of missed piercing sight shots we've seen miss, I think I could definitely agree with you there. I feel like they're the hardest ones to hit.
When you know where they are, it's still hard to hit those. There we go, pushed in by Dewey by himself, looking for that first one. He's got a band really low off to his side. That's whaz going to be falling. Now the BG comes back with Chain, who will turn that in the favor for a 2-for-1, but we're 9 minutes in with only 34 frags total. Finally, the 35th can be put on the board, and again, Garpy has 3 totems down.
They're just so consistently in the lead. Guaranteed damage, and that suicide is really unfortunate, because all he had to do was really just kind of like get a little bit of extra damage. Definitely unnecessary. Might have assumed they might have had more stack than necessary, but we'll take it for what it is. Chain trying to use the environment for best visibility, but just can't. Cannot get anything going.
Yeah, that totem's been up there the entire game, by the way. Still has yet to be finished off. I think something that Myztro UKSA is doing well is they're maintaining control of the high ground of this map, because that's where all the totems are being placed in general. And when you maintain those positions, it's really hard to clear those totems off if you're Chain or whaz trying to come in.
I really feel like with that one totem, you have to super go out of your way to get rid of it. Which
I don't think they even know it's there. That's the thing. I don't think they've rocket jumped while here or jumped high enough to see that, because they can't see the ring around it.
That is true. I mean, like,
when they finally see it now. Yeah, there's 2 up there.
I think they heard you. I think they heard you. Sorry, maybe you should turn our volume down in the crowd or something.
Well, that was both totems cleaned up. That was actually the 3 stack of Garpy now gone, and maybe this is the sign for them to start to push in, for their sign to start to come back here. See whaz very low on health, 8 HP left.
Manages to really squeeze that one out, and they've been able to actually close the gap super impressively. You know, 22 to 18 with a quad damage and now a mega. It's 100% possible they can bring this one back. But again, the defensive game, they're not even moving. Actually, look, I believe that was Garpy on the left-hand side. No, it was Dewey. Couldn't really make them out from that far away. Excellent double kill from whaz, bringing them somewhat back into the fight now. Only 2 kills behind. A long time until we see another power-up, though. And the power-up has been a huge catalyst for that wonderful shot on the rail. Can he chase it down?
Jeez, whaz is doing some serious work now. I mean, he eventually does die, but he did so much damage done. And Chain, unfortunately, going to miss a couple of rails here uncharacteristically, but it's only a 2-kill difference. It could have been so much worse. It was worse on the previous map, so the slower pace definitely favoring whaz and Chain. Push comes back in, again, another 1-for-1, which they can afford to have at this stage of the game. But we only have 4 minutes left here, Ketchup, and I don't think we're hitting that 50 frag limit. There's almost no way.
Yeah, I feel like it's been so slow-paced, it's more than likely to be either by timeout or we're going to get a sudden death, because this has been super even.
Oh, yeah, sudden death's I think very likely now, as we look at it.
Hey, Dewey and Garpy, no stranger to sudden death.
Yeah, yesterday they had it happen twice, where it came down to the 1 frag to win. Well, sudden death didn't happen twice, but 1 frag to win. The pressure they're used to.
I mean, there really does. It gets no higher pressure than that, especially in this tournament setting when you're playing for as much as these guys are. They're in great form right now, and if they win this map, Myztro UKSA will be moving on in this bracket. What a great result it would be.
Especially for the Myztro organization, who's fielding 3 teams here. I mean, I know when we were talking about Myztro CIS, and when Sidestep got here and he was feeling very ill, I know they actually brought in doctors to him to make him, or to help him get better, and that costs money. So, you know, they can be happy about their teams performing like this. Protection's up in 1 second. Mega's gonna be there as well. Chain actually ditches away towards protection, still away Mega, which is not a bad trade considering you already lost out your teammate there to contest protection.
Well, On this map, you have plenty of space to run away, and running away is basically what they're going to try and do. Garpy chases down whaz, though, which actually could lead to another one, and it's the classic of as they try and run away, they run straight into Dewey, who unfortunately kind of missed some of those shots. Chain outgunning him in that 1v1, keeping them back in. No, barely, really. Garpy, can he finish this one? How good can you run? That's the question. Can he get it? Not quite, but
he's still low. Like, that's still going to be a free kill eventually, as long as they just spawn him out one more time. They can hear him going for the health levels behind Garpy. They want to contest heavy, and they're finally going to be able to here. You see whaz&cha1n, they're going to give this one up and respect. And again, Myztro UKSA, they're just keeping control of these pickups the best they can. The only big difference now is that they don't have that third totem to always have available for the extra healing and overstack.
There's the surprise of the dual wield. The sustain from the totems, though. Does he actually lose this 1v1? They trade it out. And that's actually, I think, best case scenario. You know, going a 1v1 versus a BJ, if you trade that, that's like, you know, one of the best things you can ask for, I think, because now he's going to have no cooldown.
They're trying to get to heavy. They're trying to rush it. You can see Dewey immediately. Actually, still hasn't been taken, so I think they maybe mistimed it a little bit or expected them to have already secured it with the other player. The damage is being done. Look at that.
Oh,
again, nice combo.
That was such a tight angle as well. Not an easy shot to land. Dewey's been bringing things out. 1 minute 30 on the clock. This is going to be a timeout, absolutely. I do not think we're going to see a kill limit here.
Still, I mean, considering the time that is left, Myztro UKSA, they can play this to advantage. They can play slow. They can play even slower than they're doing now, forcing whaz&cha1n to get aggressive against them because they're down by 5 frags. And at the pace we've been going, 5 frags could take a minute and a half. It could take 3 minutes at this rate.
And if Myztro get this quad damage, I would be very concerned. The rocket misses, so it's not going to come through. Swaps to the LG just for the guaranteed damage. Chain has the dual wield, gets 2. And this is so vital to make sure. What a wonderful spawn for Chain. Garpy going into the jaws of death there. Nothing it can do. Chain is popping off, and the quad damage allows it to happen. Is this the comeback, Jason?
Let's see. I mean, the thing is, the time is running out. 40 seconds left to go. They have to pick up the pace. They need 2 more frags. You can see them trying to run into them the best they can. The 2 frags could be right here. They're trapped into a tight area. Garpy's going to fall. Now can they get the next one? Dewey, who's still alive, who's trying to run away, who's trying to buy time the best they possibly can. Chain thinks there's another one there, but as we can see, there isn't. They've been able to escape. They still have the 1 frag advantage. 20 seconds left to go, catch up.
They have to watch out now. You can see both these guys, I think they're going to be sticking together because if they can trade this out, it's all they can ask for. Chain's taking massive damage from a distance, missing the rails, the vital shots, minimal damage on the rocket as well. Chain has been unable to get anything.
Dual wield, you got to do it.
10 seconds on the clock. Is this going to be game over or do they tie it up? Goes in for the dual wield, but Dewey gets the defensive rocket, which I think is all they need. The timer's going to count down and it's going to be Myztro moving on in the top 8 bracket.
I know you're not supposed to toot your own horn, so I'll do it for you, catch up. The 3-0 that you talked about. Maybe you should be our analyst right now. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
The thing is,
the 3-0 though, that was quite convincing out of Myztro.
They played absolutely sublime. They played absolutely superbly, and it was a level of on land we've seen both of these guys play before. You know, by no means is this over. They still have ways to go if they're going to win this tournament. But you know, the difference in cash alone made that win super important.
It did, and you know, not to mention, like, the thing is, now they move through to the semifinals again. They make more money off the bat now. They're going to be up against even potentially a tougher opponent. Well, definitely a tougher opponent with Team Liquid now as the matchup they have to go against. But that's a team I feel like they're going to be comfortable playing since they've been screaming them the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they were able to get into the country nice and early, and they've been sort of practicing. Well, Dewey already here, obviously.
Yeah.
Garpy, not so much of an easy trip. But, you know, congratulations to the guys. I think Myztro are going to be super proud of how far they've come. They've had plenty of players in this top 8, and the first team of the day moving on. I mean, all in all, that's just a fantastic result.
Yeah, and Mac Attack, I see you back here. I don't know if I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me. Can you hear me now? Okay, perfect.
So what do you got for us? I mean, that was a 3-0. We expected like a 3-1, 3-0 kind of line on here on the desk. How surprised are we about Myztro UKSA?
Oh, I can't say I'm surprised. I want to kind of echo what Ketchup was talking about, their prep, and we've been watching them. So I think they're ready, they're confident. I love the fist pump at the end of their wins, that, you know, that nice emotion, like, hey, you know, we're in this together. We're in it, man. Oh, we missed. We're not professionals, so we can't do it as good as they do.
Ketchup's got it.
Ketchup's got it. But no, they really do a great job. The last map was interesting. The pace really slowed down. Kind of slow played it a little bit, but they pulled it out in the end, and that's really what matters. They got the win, 3-0, but they did prove me wrong. I'm a little upset about that. They proved me wrong. I said 3-1.
Well, before we get into any clips or anything like that, I'm curious about your thoughts of the fact that we saw whaz&cha1n stick to the BJ Galena and the BJ Visor and not switching things up to kill. Do you think that was something that they weren't prepared to play, or that they were confident in dealing with the kill with their combo?
Yeah, it is kind of interesting because earlier we talked about how Dewey really utilized kill excellent previously yesterday, and it was disruptive again this time. It seemed like anytime I was listening to the commentary, you guys were right about the damage output. It's like even when they got a kill on Dewey, it's like that last nade kind of came out and hit you in the face. You know, you ate a pineapple right before he died, and next thing you know, you're sitting there with 15 health, and Garpy just comes in as the cleanup crew and you know, just takes you out. So I think he's very disruptive with it. Maybe it might change some of the bans coming on in the later matches. Teams might want to look at that and be like, you know, they do have a great clutch, but you know, maybe we want to ban a kill instead and deal with the clutch if it happens. I don't know.
That's risky to do, because then it's like, if we ban the kill, are they going to ban the clutch? Because then they can play that, right? But I know you have clips you actually want to show us here. I think you have about 4 of them that you want to go through to show us kind of how that was a 3-0 fair and how Myztro UKSA just really dismantled Chain and Waz.
Yeah, there's a few key points, I think, in the match. I think early on, it showed the coordination with Myztro in particular, where they had a nice combo breaker. Been hanging out with this guy too much.
Good choice.
But he had a party breaker, you know, killed Garpy, I believe, died with the quad, and Dewey was right there behind his teammates to pick it up. So even though he was pushing, he was aggressive, got railed a couple times, he lost it. In fact, here we go here. He gets railed, gets taken out, teammate right there to pick it up for him, and then boom, just takes out the enemies right there. So that just kind of illustrates how important it is to have your teammates back, because